Hello, internet friends. How are you doing today? My name is Spartan Overdrive, and welcome back to Hybridcraft, the Minecraft Let's Play where we like to do all the things. And today, I'm going to start off by asking you a question. I got a poll up in the top right-hand corner, and I want to know, am I OCD? Do I have OCD? That's what I need to know. We'll talk about that a little bit later, so you might have to come back to the poll, but that's how I want to do it. I want that poll right out the gate at the beginning. So guys, come back and vote on that poll. Don't forget, I'll remind you later. We'll talk about it. But first, let's talk about what we're going to do this episode. The last episode, I mentioned that we're going to do a world release, a full download at episode 50. So before I do that, I want to get this place put together. There's no way I'm going to be able to finish the world. I mean, this world is never going to finish. That's the whole idea with it. But I want to get the projects that I have started finished. And Illy had mentioned, uh-oh, we got a zombie. Where's it hiding? I shouldn't have any zombies around here. This is supposed to be lit up, you silly zombie. Okay, anyways, Illy mentioned it would be nice to have this thing finished because right now I've got a call button right here at this little kiosk or whatever you want to call it. And then I've got this pressure plate here that activates it when we go back up and we get to ride this thing up. And it's a lot of fun, right? So we can only do this one way right now. I never finished this top part, and so I feel like I agree with her that this is something that needs to be done. This is this is the first animation I did in this world actually, and I dig it. I like it a lot, even though I don't use it a whole lot. I want it to be functional. That's one of the whole points of this world is, and the entire point of this world is to take inspiration from real life, right? And to kind of translate it into a Minecraft situation. So my original idea was to have some sort of resort or luxury spa or something. This was going to be like a hot springs area, but I've been delaying it because I'm not really feeling it, just to be honest, guys. I don't really feel it a whole lot. And so I got inspired to do something different. We're going to keep this here. I don't know how exactly, but we're going to implement this into the build somehow because I want to keep this waterfall right here. So we'll have to keep that somehow. But my idea is today I want to finish this part up here. I want to have something up here, a reason for people to take that ride or to hike the trails up to this top point up here. And if it's not going to be a resort, what is it going to be? Well, what I'm thinking is, and I think Illy was the person who made this comment as well, when we had this building here, we had the what is this? This is our magic bookstore, and how it's kind of old and dilapidated and kind of crazy looking, which is what I wanted, right? It's exactly what I wanted, but it doesn't really fit in with these hotels over here, right? They're kind of new and fancy looking, right? But I think that's okay because, like I said, we're taking inspiration from the real world. And in the real world, you end up with old buildings and new buildings popping up right beside them. And, you know, styles change over time and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we're doing is we're making a real world place that's kind of set in a fantasy medieval time where they don't have cars and stuff. You know, this is Minecraft. We're kind of making up our own story here, right? In our own environment. But that's what we're going with. So with that being said, something else that we have in real life is really, really, really old buildings, right? So you can go and visit the Acropolis, like the is it Pantheon or Pantheon? Oh my goodness, I'm sound like it. We can go visit the Acropolis. Cut that last part in editing, please. Yeah. So, anyways, this is giving me an idea to put like an old relic kind of situation. And because we're up on here, up on this big hill, what would be up here naturally? I kind of feel like this is a perfect place for a fort, right? You know, you could see forever in almost every direction from up here. I feel like this is an extremely defensible position. And so, and maybe we'll develop like a legit castle one day. But I think for now up here, it's not a big enough area for a legit castle, but maybe there was an old fort up here and maybe there's still ruins and remains of that fort up here. And now it's like a visitor's attraction. So I'm thinking that might be a fun thing to develop up here. Now, the issue that we're going to have with this is competing with this tower here, right? Because the idea is you would build a big tower up here. And this is why, by the way, I decided to go with the ruins, because if you built a big tower up here, it might overshadow that or match that. And the idea about this is that it's the highest thing on the island, so it can catch forest fires and all that kind of stuff. So what we're going to have to do is one of two things. We're going to have to build this thing crumbled down so we can build what used to be towers, but they're going to be knocked down and weathered, right? Which I think will be a lot of fun and look really cool. The other thing that we can do is we can maybe say that they rebuilt on top of one of the towers in order to put a second Firewatch tower over here. The problem is if we do that, it's not going to match that at all. So I don't know if we'll go that route or not, but you guys let me know what you think. Once this is all said and done, we'll have a better idea of it. But today the idea is to build some kind of ruins up here, left over from an old watchtower, kind of defensive fort system. So that's what we're going to get busy working on. You know what? I'm about out of chicken. I need to get me some more chicken, but I'm kind of tired of going and getting my sword. I've been carrying around an axe only lately, and I'm kind of tired of going and getting my flame sword to go kill those chickens every time. So let's make ourselves another flame sword that we can keep over there at the chicken coop. Get open for me, door. Something that we can keep over at that chicken coop to get going and get us some automatically cooked chickens. The question is, do I have any flaming books over here? Ah, flame and lure. Even better, we can lure those chickens into their demise. My bad. Apparently you need fire aspect. Is that a thing? Don't worry, guys. I know Minecraft, definitely. All right, I found a fire aspect 1. I'm not sure if that's going to cook them any better or if fire aspect 2 cooks any better or not, but let's find out only one way. And kabooey. Yep, fire aspect 1 is all we need for a tiny little chicken. That's what I thought. Take that in the face, you chicken. Ha! All right, so we have the basic layout down, just kind of the one layer foundation, and it's actually a pretty good size. So we're obviously not going to build this up completely. Really, all we got to do at this point is just start laying down some blocks, and then we will eventually come back and knock a bunch of them down as well. But I want to kind of build it a little bit somewhat randomly if I can. You can see what I did here. The idea is this thing was originally overhanging and maybe the land eroded out from under it, which worked out perfectly because there was no land there to begin with. So don't tell anybody that I did that like that, but I did. So there we go. Now I'm going to put some cobble in there probably because I think the cobble is going to basically be an indication of it eroding away. Same thing with the smooth stone. But we may kind of come and go with that. It is time for a little bit of block and talk, a new segment where we have a little bit of a chit chat while we place some blocks down, because why not? Why wouldn't we not do such a thing? And today's subject matter is a question relating a little bit to the poll that I'm throwing up today. Have you guys ever been in a situation where you got annoyed by yourself? Yes. Have you ever annoyed yourself? Kind of a deep question, isn't it? Okay, maybe not deep, but it's a question, and that's a start. So here's the deal, guys. I was actually having a conversation with my wife about this lately, getting a little introspective, and I discovered that my whole life I'm like this, and I've discovered that I'm a little bit particular, and I've always been that way, and I'm wondering, is this normal? Am I a weirdo? Maybe a little bit of both. But either way, I thought it would be something fun to talk about. So what I found out is I have a lot of little tics, some bad habits, I guess you could call them. And I'm wondering if you guys do and what they are. So it might help if I maybe gave you an example of what I'm talking about, right? Well, the thing is, it's really hard because a lot of the things that I do that I'm talking about are kind of physical. For example, sometimes I wiggle my lips. It sounds funny, and believe me, it is funny. It's not really funny, haha, as much as it is just kind of weird. And I catch myself doing it. And actually, the first time I ever noticed it, I was like in elementary school, and I did it all the time. It was kind of like a scratch without actually touching your face. And so I like wiggled my lips to kind of scratch them. And I never thought anything of it until one day I caught myself in a mirror or something like that. I don't remember. I was actually pretty young when this happened. And I realized, you look like a doofus. What are you doing You look like a weirdo. Like, why are you doing this to yourself? And then ever since then, I tried to stop. But the problem is, when I tried to stop, it just made it that much harder. And then I started picking up other little bad habits to kind of replace it. And I'm like, what is this all about? So now I'm an adult and I've got all kinds of crazy bad habits. I wiggle my fingers. I wiggle my toes. I do weird things with my mouth and eyes. And not that I'm a total weirdo, not that I'm not either, to be honest. I probably am, but yeah, not that I'm completely crazy. But I started thinking, like, is this like, do I have a serious issue here? Like, is there something else going on that I just don't know about? Like, am I? Because here's the deal: people get a little crazy. Like, everybody thinks, oh, you've got ADD or ADHD, and some people do, but a lot of people don't, and they're just labeled that way. And I feel like it takes away from the importance of people who actually do have issues that they're working on and trying to resolve, or whatever, right? So I don't ever want to do that. I don't ever want to, just say that I have this issue when I don't, because it's cool to say, right? Like, a lot of people will say, oh, that's just my OCD. Well, you don't really have OCD. I mean, OCD is a serious thing, right? It's obsessive compulsive disorder. It's something you obsess about or you do compulsively. And then I realized, like, that's kind of what's happening with me. Like, I wouldn't say I obsess about these things, but I do them, like, compulsively. Like, I legitimately try not to do these weird little things that annoy even myself. Like, why would I purposely annoy myself, right? It doesn't make sense. But I do it anyways. Why am I doing that? It's obsessive, right? That's what that means, right? So maybe I am, but either way, it's not so serious that I feel like I need any kind of or have any kind of major issues or need any kind of serious treatment or help. But I just thought, I think it's possible that you can have a little bit of something like that, right? And I think that's totally fine. I mean, like, I'm always trying to work on myself and make myself better and not do those things. But it seems like every time I about fix one thing, another thing pops up, and I'm like, what am I doing? But it may be just me. Maybe it's not too big of a deal. Maybe I just make it out to be. I don't know. But I think even my wife was saying, yeah, maybe you shouldn't do some of those things anymore. But that's the thing, right? Like, I'm legitimately trying not to. What's wrong with my brain? My brain, head, and body. It's not cooperating with what I really want to do. So do you guys have anything weird like that? Do you have any, like, little, I guess they would be, like, called tics, right? Like a bodily tic or function like that you don't mean to do, but you just kind of do. Now don't be talking about embarrassing. Don't embarrass yourself here. We're not talking about that kind of stuff. But if you feel comfortable, I'm just curious, am I just a complete loose cannon oddball out here? Which I might be, and I'm totally okay with that. That's fine. I'm comfortable with who I am, but I think it's always good to try to change. So change yourself. So on the other side, the flip coin, if you don't have anything like that, are you a self-improver? Are you always trying to improve yourself? If not, you should be, man. What's wrong with you? It's a good thing. You want to be a better person, right? And the thing is, there is no such thing as perfection. You can always better yourself. Kind of like here in this game, it's a little bit of an analogy. We're always trying to better ourselves, right? Some of you guys know that I'm not good at redstone, and I've been trying to get better at it. Some of you guys watch me, I've talked to, are not great builders, and you're trying to get better at it. And I'm always trying to get better too. I think I've gotten a whole lot better over the years, but there's still a long ways to go. There's a lot of people out there better than me, and that's okay that they're better than me, but I want to be better than me too. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. I think you know what I'm saying. So maybe the question I should be asking you guys, since I'm trying to fix this stuff, I'm trying to improve myself, is if you have had anything like that happen, if you do have any things that you're obsessing over or trying to fix, any little tics or things like that you're trying to better yourself from, what do you do? What do you do to get past that, to move on and to fix yourself? How have you improved yourself over the year or over your life even? All right, I think we have got the basics of the structure down. Let's see if we can take a look at it from above. Something like that. A little bit of a ruins area going on, which is the whole idea, right? Can I land on my platform up here? Almost. No. Oh my goodness, almost, but not quite. Let's see if the second time is doable. And with the magic of editing, I definitely landed that on my second try. Don't even look at how many Fireworks are missing, guys. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look from here. I think it looks pretty good. It's getting there anyways. We've got to go back and do some details still. You can see I've already started a little bit. I've got this wall kind of crumbling down here, so we're going to do that in a lot of different places where the wall might be crumbled down a little bit. I broke a hole, and as you can see, I extended this creek into here. I'm thinking about putting like a spring right here. I don't know if I'll build one or if we'll just kind of pretend that this is where the water comes up and then goes off that way, and over time it has eroded away this wall here, and I might put a little bridge across it. We still got to put in the tourist stuff, right? So we'll put in some paths up here, a little bridge and stuff. We got to connect it up to the gondola system. As far as the overall shape, I had a basic idea just to be completely random, but I also wanted this side here to stick up a little higher so that when we saw it from this side, it looked a little higher than this side over here. And then I'm going to put, the goal is to put like some kind of flooring in there to have a little bit of a cover. You'll see what I do with that in a little bit. And then I did the same concept I did here over there. I put the inside wall a little bit higher so that when we look at it from a distance there, and this might be a good time to do that with you guys now for the first time, see if maybe we can see a few layers there because of the way we did that. And it looks like we might be able to. Oh, hey, look at that landing. See, I'm good at landing. But we're going to make some bushes and all kinds of stuff, make it overgrow a little bit to hopefully, because right now it looks like that back wall is kind of blending in with the front wall a little bit. So we will do some stuff to hopefully help with that. But the idea is to give it a lot of different layers. And like I said, I think right now it's blending in a little bit too much. So it's good that we came over here. I might put some bushes or some trees growing up in the middle of these things since it's supposed to be super overgrown anyways. And I think that will help. Like having that tree right there, that helps a lot. So we'll put some more stuff in there like that for sure. So now let's get after the stairs, the slabs, and all those wonderful details. Well, guys, we did it. This was a bigger undertaking than I first expected. I thought I was not going to build a full castle, so it won't take that long, but turns out kind of sort of built the base of a full castle here, plus all the detail work. So let's kind of review what we did. I wanted to start up here because I think it's a pretty good view. You can kind of see down there. I did go ahead and add in that spring area right there. It kind of looks like it. I put some bone blocks down there. I'm kind of pretending it's like a calcified area or something. I don't know. You can kind of make up what you want on that, but that's the idea. That's the source of water up here. So it actually is somewhat believable, hopefully. Got a nice little bridge going on. And I'm probably going to fill in a lot more trees later. I do have a couple that I added. This one right here, and then there's one over there. But I ended up filling in this area a little more than I planned to with all these fallen rocks and stuff like that. Now, we'll walk down there and take a look at everything here in a second, and I'll show you why I did what I did. But long story short, I filled it in so much that I couldn't use my custom trees that I've done in the past over here. And so I had to make even more custom trees, which is fine. I really need some more variety anyway, so that worked out fine. But I ended up having to build those from hand instead of using the old structure block method. So let's walk down there and take a gander at what we got. I'm going to take a shortcut with the old poop chute. Woohoo! So we made it down the poop chute, thankfully. And let's point this out. Remember a couple episodes ago, I was talking about how this park, and by the way, this park is really coming together. I really want to show you a big overview of the whole area, but I'm going to wait until episode 50 because just doing this alone, and then the clock tower, and the last 2 episodes plus this one with the bookstore and this, really have filled in this area. And I'm so glad I started focusing on filling in the area because it's made a huge impact, I think, as far as just immersion and all that goes. But let's go back to what I started out with. We've got all these different levels. So we've got this big tower over here, and then we've got the park down there, obviously. We're going to have a beach area down there eventually. We already have this amphitheater down here. We've got some interesting little cave looking things there. And then up above it, we've got this now. So there is layer upon layer upon layer of just things to do and explore. And as you guys are probably finding out from the Zelda series and all the other games that I'm putting up on the channel now, I love exploration, man. I really enjoy just finding all these little nooks and crannies and just exploring them. And so I'm really excited that we're finally able to create that here because that's been the goal all along, but we just didn't have enough environment, and we've created it now, and it's pretty cool. So I showed you earlier what the area looked like from above. I laid out the walls in an area that I thought would be pretty cool, a pretty cool shape. And so one of these big, what are these called? They're not turrets, but this is like a big circular thing that goes on the corner. And look at that clock in the background. Isn't that cool? That's cool environment, I think. But anyways, yeah, so the idea is all of these have crumbled away. This thing has been here a long time. It was in disrepair, and now it's not modern time for us, but it's modern time for the people who live down here, right? This was from centuries ago, and this is what's left, and now they've turned it into a little bit of an exploration park everywhere. And so this part here was just crumbled away naturally, so they just went ahead and put the trail right through this part of the build, or of the castle, which once was, which is pretty cool. Oh, and then what I did here, I noticed that everything was real gray, right? We talked about how I wanted this to have some overgrowth on it so that it stood out from this here when we're on the other side there, and we'll take a look at that here in a minute. But this is what I came up with. It's a lot of vines, it kind of grew out of control, but I like it. I think it works out when we look at it from the other side. And then what I did is I decided to put up some scaffolding and stuff, and pretend that there is some wood left. Maybe this wood was reserved or petrified in some way or another. So we've got this wood area here, and then I even put a way to get up there by this vine in this example, with some leaves here and all this good stuff. And the idea is originally this was a big tower, and this thing just circled around, and this is all that's left of it. So what this did for me, it may not be realistic. This wood probably wouldn't be here still after centuries, but it helps with the immersion a lot. Maybe they came back and reconstructed this. Who knows what the reason is, but it really helps with all the gray that we had everywhere. And you know what? I forgot. I need to put a slab here to make that transition easy and walkable. But as you can see, this wall right here is crumbled completely, and we've got crumble down here. So everywhere, basically what you're going to do is, I'm going to kind of show you a little bit tour, but you'll notice everywhere that the wall comes down towards the ground, even if it's not all the way to the ground like this one, what I've done is I put a bunch of cobblestone, a bunch of basically all the same materials we have in the wall itself. I put all around just kind of randomly, but I focused it a lot more in the areas that where a wall has fallen, so it looks like a wall is actually fallen, right? That makes perfect sense to me. So that's the idea behind that, and that's what you're going to see all over the place. And so I've gone ahead and put this path here. Let's go check this out real quick. This is the same kind of thing over here. Like I said, same thing, but just different area. I'm thinking about putting a tree in here. I'm thinking about putting a lot more trees in here, but like I said, it's just, those are kind of time consuming, so I might do that at a later time. But as you can see, another thing I've done is I've dug down into the ground. I've created pits, because the idea is these things have fallen off of what once was a really tall wall, and so they're going to impress down into the ground quite a bit. They're going to sink down into the ground when they hit really hard like that, and so we have a lot of these impressions like that, and that adds a lot of nice layers and depth and variety. And that's something new that I'm trying to do that I like. I didn't think I was going to like it at first, but when I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, these probably would sink into the ground a little bit. I really dig it. And the other thing with the buttons, man, buttons galore. They really made a difference here. And there's something that I've been doing for a long time, but something that I kind of decided to switch up here a little bit is I started putting them everywhere, like on the walls everywhere. And I realized, and I've always known this, but then I started realizing like the effort I was putting into it wasn't worth it, because you couldn't really see them. There's a button right here, and then there's a button back there if you can see it, but they don't really stick out when they're on the wall with stone behind it. But where they do stick out and look awesome is on the ground like that, with grass surrounding it or something. And this is a perfect place to do this, because I mean, it's literally a wall that's crumbled away, so there's going to be lots of little pebbles and stones left over, right? So that makes perfect sense to me anyways. So as you can see, same thing here, this wall has crumbled down, and doesn't this look so much better than it did when it was just the outline before we had all these different height variations and stuff? So I did the same thing over here. I put a little ladder up here, and that way everybody can explore up here. We got just a partial area here. So the idea is that this one, and then same thing over there. If you can see what I did over there, these floors were here, and then they kept going up, who knows how far, but far enough. And so this is the only one that's left right now, is that floor right there and just part of it. So if we continue to follow the trail around this way, and I need to put some more paths in there, or some more slabs anyways, then we come through another one of these big circular rooms here, and then something up there which was like a leftover of a floor, like I said before. And I used my old ladder trick with the what are these barrier blocks here that I like to do, and I just tried to rough it up everywhere I could. And then I put a fence in here. I probably should put a fence in here too. If this is a tourist attraction, they would have a fence all along here, so I might go ahead and do that too. But I put a gate here so people can access it, maybe to maintenance or whatever. But as you can see, it's completely washed away. So we don't want people going down there if they can help it. And I tell you what, let's hop down here. I think I was going to go into creative mode, but I think I'm going to try to keep from it if I can. I think we can show you everything. This is not where I ended up, or what I intended to end up. Oh, poop. Well, I might have to get a little tricky. Do I have any inner pearls on me? Of course I don't. Well, I wanted to show you this other side here. Can I get out of this? I may not be able to. I'm going to have to break a leaf, aren't I? Oh, I do not want to do that, but I'm going to have to do it. That's fine. All right, so hop up on this tree, and we can finally see it from this angle. And it's just a little interest, man. There's not a whole lot to it from down here, honestly, but there's something there. It's something to draw your interest and say, oh, I want to go see what that is and explore that, right? So that's the idea. And then this right here, I was hoping to get a better angle at it. I might have to fly out somewhere, and man, I am not making any of my jumps. You know what? Let's go way over here to the ship and see if we can get a little bit better of a view as we come back in. But as you can see, I mentioned before how the ground had come away from it. So I put some little upside down stairs and stuff. And you can see how it just kind of hangs all over the place up here. And I think that turned out pretty good too. So let's take one more fly job right around here and take a look at it from the city. What does it look like from down here? My big concern, wow, I almost died right there on camera. That would have been embarrassing, but not unusual. My big concern down here was that I didn't want it to compete with that Firewatch tower, because I really like it, and I think a lot of other people do too. But look at that. It's just, you can tell it's a ruins, right? It's something back there that isn't spectacular, but it's intriguing, and it's a really nice backdrop, at least in my opinion. I really dig it. And if we come around here, we never could see that tower from here anyways, that Firewatch tower. But if we come around here, we can see it just like we always did. Let's run back this way and take a good look at it. So if we come on, oh, and look at this too. You got towers peeking up everywhere. Look at the immersion. Oh man, like I said, getting the city tight together like this is perfect. And now we're doing it just in time. This Firewatch tower is perfect at this sunset, isn't it? So see, it's not competing. You can see something up there that's a little intriguing, makes you want to go visit it, but it's not competing with that. That tower is still far and above everything else, right? So let's take one more look at it from the sky, from this area over here. And I have decided that this thing looks a lot better up close in person than it does way out here. For whatever reason, to me, it's not nearly as good looking from out here, but it's intriguing. And I think that's the whole point. It's just enough to catch the eye and say, hey, let's go explore that and see what it looks like up close and personal. And when you get up close and personal, hopefully you think it looks good. And oh my goodness, I see creepers and witches and everything everywhere. Get out of here, please. Oh Lord, help me. Oh man, this is bad. This is very bad. Let's fly. Oh man, can we fly through a spider? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Let's get out of this F5 mode. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to cut away. In fact, you know what? Let's just do it like this right here. We can cut away, getting away from all these people right here. I'm going to end the episode right here, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some inspiration, learned a few things. I know that I did. If you liked it, if you loved it, leave a like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, all that good stuff. Share it. Oh my goodness. Don't die. Don't die. That's a bad thing. I got to get out of here, guys. I'm about to be blown up by a creeper. I can feel it. Love you to death. Until next time, take it easy. And as always, keep it creative.